Hello and welcome to Spotlight on Jackson County. Joining me in WKFK studio today is Mr. Ron Vincent, and he is an unofficial candidate for U.S. Congress.
That's about it.
But we wanted to bring you in and talk to you about it. And one of the first questions I want to ask you, Ron, and tell you welcome to the show, but I know this could take a lot out of you, running for a political office.
It is a lot of work, no doubt.
A lot of work and a lot of money.
It is, and so I'm trying to get my name out, doing everything I can, because I am totally dissatisfied with what's going on in Washington, D.C. Our country is going down the drain, and somebody needs to do something, and nobody's doing anything. And the solution to the problem is not rocket science, it's sending some different people to Washington, D.C. Some people who will stand up to the Democrats and do what the people in South Mississippi want them to do.
Well, you would be one voice, but you would try to build coalitions to make things happen?
Absolutely. We have some good people in Congress. Michelle Bachmann, and we had Alan West there, and several more, and they need some help. Boehner just barely got reelected, and it's the leadership in the Republican Party is the problem. We've got some good people there. We just need some more people there. We need some help. And what we need to do is we need to take South Mississippi to Washington, D.C., not the other way around. What's happening now is our representative, and it's like Gene Taylor before him, thinks he's representing Washington, D.C. and South Mississippi. We've got too much Washington, D.C. and South Mississippi already. We need to take our morals, our values, and our ideas to Washington, D.C. and tell the leadership we ain't voting for that crap.
Ron, we got a big problem in this country, and it's $18 trillion. We're real close to it. I mean, it won't be long before we're $18 trillion in debt.
Well,
if we don't start doing something about that, we're going to become a third world country. We're going to become a country that's not going to be in the position that we are in now.
We're a long way down the road now, Doug, towards becoming a third world country. The fiscal and the monetary policy that has fallen on our country is just horrendous. And the reason for it is the Republicans are not standing up to the Democrats. It's the spending, stupid. We've got to stop spending. We don't have a tax problem. We have a spending problem. We're running $1 billion a year deficit now, $1 trillion a year deficit now. Good grief, what is this? And the reason that they're getting away with it, is because the Republicans will not stand up to the Democrats. They will not stand up to Obama. He keeps them panicked, and he gets what he wants. He gets what he wants at every turn. Somebody needs to tell him no. The Republicans are running scared because they're afraid Obama is going to shut the government down and blame them for it. Well, somebody needs to stand up on their hind legs and say, we didn't shut the government down. The fiscal responsibility comes from the White House, because that's where the problem is.
What do you think about these? There's been a scandal after scandal after scandal, and it keeps growing like a big mushroom cloud, weekly, sometimes daily in Washington. We've got the IRS scandal, the NSA scandal, Benghazi, the AP scandal, and God knows what's going to be tomorrow.
Sadly true, Doug.
The IRS is one of the most powerful arms of the United States government. They can destroy you.
They absolutely can.
Is there a way to rein in the IRS?
Absolutely, and we have it in our hands. We own the House of Representatives. The House is in charge of the money. If the IRS was afraid of the Republicans in the House, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. But they know that Boehner and the Republican leadership is not going to do anything to cut their funds, to shut them down, even to complain about them. They just are up there doing nothing. And that's the problem. They need to be doing something.
So you're saying the House of Representatives in Washington has the power to defund the IRS?
They absolutely do, and they could defund Obamacare, and that'd be a good place to start.
They wouldn't have to have a vote from the Senate on this?
No. It has to get by the House. If the House does not approve the expenditure of the funds, it's not going to happen. They can vote all they want to in the Senate. That's another thing I get frustrated with Boehner about. They keep asking Boehner, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? His answer is always the same. Well, we'll never get it by the Senate. Well, how about letting Harry Reid and those guys worry about getting it by the House? How about going up there and doing what you were sent up there to do, and that's to represent the American people and stand up to Obama and defund Obamacare and all these idiot programs that are killing this nation. This is silly. It's crazy. And we have the power to fix it, and we're not doing it. That's why it's so frustrating.
Do you seem like you wanted to go to Washington and do the tough, make the tough decisions, make the decisions that aren't going to be politically correct or politically
expedient.
Well, popular. It's politically popular to give away money. It's politically popular to fund programs that give people things. It's politically popular to do those kinds of things.
It may be politically popular, but I won't be involved in it. I'm not going to vote for that crap. I'll be more like Ron Paul. Ron Paul was known in the House as Dr. No, and I ain't going to vote for that crap either. You know, we don't need to give the Democrats our heads on a handbasket. We need to stand up and do the hard things and make the hard choices and the hard decisions, and then they need to stand up and explain to the American people why they're doing it, and that's not happening now.
Well, you know, at this point in time in our history, we've got over 47% of our population are on some sort of government assistance. The Democrats are appealing to those people. They're not going to take away their benefits because they know that's a vote. We got one of the most porous borders of any country in the world. People can come across that border almost at will. We're not stopping it. I mean, we got Marco Rubio, we got some other people up there that are, quote, coming up with a immigration bill, but we're not planning to stop the immigration across the border. There's no telling who, other than Hispanics, have come across that border and what they've brought with them.
No doubt. And that's the problem. You know, since 1982, we've had laws on the books to deal with that. The federal government hasn't done it. In 1982, we signed the Simpson-Mazzoli Act, which basically granted amnesty to about 2 million aliens. Most of them were in California, it turns out. And part of that deal was that we would control the security on the southern border, and we would keep businesses from hiring illegal aliens. And none of that stuff is happening. The federal government is not enforcing the laws that are on the books. And that's what we need to do. We've got a major problem down there on the border.
I'm not opposed to people coming into the United States and working. I'm opposed to them coming in illegally and working. I'm not opposed to giving those people jobs. I would want them to get a Social Security number. I would want them to pay their fair share of taxes, and I would not want them to get on every free program that's available that's actually bankrupted the state of California and could soon bankrupt this country. So don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not against immigration. I just want them to do it legally, or I want the government to make it easier for them to do it legally.
They should be. It's a government problem right now.
Right.
And see, that's where the liberals and progressive get us every time. We don't have a problem with illegal immigration. The problem is lack of border security. But the liberals have turned the argument to an immigration controversy. And then the next word out of their mouth, well, we're a nation of immigrants. Why should we be against immigration? We're not against immigration. We're against the illegal people coming into this country, illegal bringing drugs. The terrorists are coming into this country. The southern border is wide open, despite what Janet Napolitano says.
But wouldn't you agree, Ron, though, that it's really difficult for somebody to legally immigrate into the United States?
It is.
It's a big obstacle put in their in front of them, and it's a years and years long process. So
Absolutely.
If we were to simplify that for them, wouldn't it not change the problem?
It would change the problem. And again, it goes back to the government. The government could fix all of this. They need to streamline the immigration process. We could implement a guest worker program, and that would solve a lot of the problems. But we need to secure the southern border first, and we can. The liberals say all the time, we can't build a fence. We can't build a fence. If you build a 17-foot fence, I'll bring an 18-foot ladder. That's hockey puck. They don't understand how to build a fence. We can build a fence. Israel built a fence. North Korea built a fence. East Germany built a fence, and it worked. It kept people in or kept people out as they wanted. They were able to control their borders. We can do it too. If we can put a man on the moon, we can build a fence. If they don't know how to build a fence, they need to come see me. I know how to build a fence because I used to live in communist Czechoslovakia. I've seen the fence, and it works.